Trevor Rogers becoming the ace of the Orioles staff. Meantime, this guy, Samuel Basallo, there is finally a plan in place for his future. And this is most likely Cedric Mullins last week as a Bird. I'm Jon Leiberman. This is Orioles Digest. We have an awful lot to get to, including all of the Birds who, not all, but most of the Birds who are on the chopping block, meaning trade bait this week. Most of them performed very, very well this weekend. I was at the yard. I'll give you my thoughts. We're going to talk about Samuel Basallo and how there is actually now a plan in place for his future with the Birds. We'll tell you what that is. And then, better late than never, but the Birds have an ace in Trevor Rogers, and Tyler O'Neill has all of a sudden come to play as well. We're going to get to all of it. The next 72 hours will tell the tale for the Orioles, for the future of the Birds, as we near this trade deadline. Again, I'm Jon Leiberman, Orioles Digest. Please like, subscribe, do all of the things because we have so much to get to. But I want to start with Samuel Basallo, the huge up-and-coming prospect and star. He went 5 for 5 on Friday night for Norfolk. He's hitting .282 right now. He has a 1.020 OPS this season, 20 homers in 63 games. And finally, we have a tiny bit of clarity about Basallo. And this is what Tony Mansolino said. You guys don't know what it is. We're not going to tell you, he quipped. But there's definitely a plan in place. Mike is thinking about him every day. Our front office is really smart. There's a lot that goes into this decision. So again, kind of a non-answer answer, but you will see Samuel Basallo at the big league level sooner rather than later. As you know, the Orioles drafted a couple catchers as well. Adley Rutschman's future, we just don't know yet, although we do expect him back in the bigs this week, in fact. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that. And now what I call going out in style. Cedric Mullins had an amazing weekend at the yard. I got to see it. I got to see the love that the fans gave to Ced at the yard this past weekend against Colorado. The 3-run dinger and the huge 18-0 win. He now has 100 homers, 100 steals. And these are going to be Ced's last couple of days with the Orioles. And what's interesting to me is the top guys who are being used as trade bait right now all had good weekends against Colorado. We can take a look at it right now. You know, Ced had the 3-run dinger on Saturday that I talked about. Tomoyuki Sagano, 6 innings pitched, 1 run, 8 Ks. You know, Sagano has struggled a bit, but certainly could go and fill a middle of the rotation spot for a contender, probably a 4 or 5 spot. Sir Anthony had a strong inning on Sunday. Ryan O'Hearn this weekend, a couple hits, couple RBIs. Laureano on Saturday scored 2 runs and had a hit. So these guys, and these are the top guys. You could add, obviously, Zach Eflin is most likely on the block as well. Maybe there's some surprises as well. But what a weekend for the Birds, who seem to be, unfortunately, counting down their days in Baltimore. But they are going out in style. And now we move to what I like to call the better late than never segment of the program, and that is Trevor Rogers has been outstanding. Let's just take a look at a little bit of video of him. This was from a couple weeks back in Atlanta. But Trevor has been absolutely ace-worthy. And who would have seen it? And not only does this, bode well that the Orioles can be competitive a little bit for the rest of the 2 months left in the season, but for next year as well, it lets you imagine what it might look like with Kyle Bradish healthy, Grayson healthy, Trevor healthy. You have Dean Kramer. The Birds do need to pick up another ace caliber pitcher, especially because Zach Eflin will most likely be gone. But Tyler Wells could be back. It does give you hope when you see Trevor Rogers performing like this. And I mean, it's crazy the progression of this guy. You know, a 5.47 ERA in 22, a 4 in 23, a 4.92 in 2024, and now this year for the Birds, a 1.49 ERA, you know, a 1.4 wins above replacement. And then when you dig into the numbers even more about just how good he's been since basically the past 5 weeks, so since June 23rd, he's first in ERA among AL starting pitchers. He's first in WHIP. He's first in batting average against. He's tied for second in wins with 4. He's fifth in wins above replacement. I mean, this guy has shown that he can be a bona fide ace, Trevor Rogers. So very, very good news for the Birds as they go into next year. And I would be remiss if I didn't tell you there's other good news as well for the Birds, and his name is Tyler O'Neill. And there's his shot to left. Tyler O'Neill. Ryan O'Hearn's loving it. Tyler O'Neill, 3 home runs in 3 consecutive games for the first time in a very long time. His OPS is now up to 725, which, wow, that's not like amazing. He was in the 5s before. So if Tyler O'Neill can somehow figure out a way to stay healthy, you know, this is a guy that indeed can anchor the middle of your lineup if he can stay healthy. So again, yes, this has been, there's no candy coating it at all. This has been a very tough season for the Birds. There's just no doubt about it. As I mentioned, Tyler's homered in 3 straight. His OPS up to 725. I call it better late than never. There's no doubt that this has been an extraordinarily disappointing season for the Birds. But you look at what Trevor Rogers is doing, you look at what Tyler O'Neill is doing, and you hope in these next 72 hours that the Orioles can get better for both 2026 and beyond. And we can look back on 2025 and say, this was an anomaly. I'm Jon Leiberman. This is Orioles Digest.